What if I told you that leaving the company that made you famous might be the best thing that ever happened to you? These wrestlers walked away from either AEW or WWE, and instead of fading away into obscurity, they leveled all the way up in their careers. Hola everyone, my name is Nando. I make a video every single week. Don't question the hole in my beanie. And today, folks, we're diving into 3 wrestlers that left AEW that did better in WWE. We're also looking at wrestlers that left WWE that did better in AEW. Let's get into this. Number 1, Jade Cargill. Okay, so here's the thing. I think anyone who has watched Jade Cargill's run in AEW would have us all be confident in saying that AEW absolutely made her look like a star. They had her debut in a program with Cody Rhodes and his wife. She teamed with freaking Shaquille O'Neal of all people. Then AEW created the TBS champion, which was like the women's mid-card champion, which everyone knew this was going to be Jade Cargill's belt. She won the TBS champion, and in total she had a 60 straight winning streak. Undertaker could never. She was given the really expensive Cody elevator entrance to help enhance her presence. She had the mic skills. She had everything except for one big noticeable thing in her career that was such a big flaw. She was barely given time to improve. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, while having a 60-0 winning streak is impressive, but one problem, all the matches were short and forgettable. She did the same big moves, she had some highlights in showing her athleticism, but the problem was that she was never really tested against the big stars in AEW. She never fought Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm, the list goes on. These were AEW's main players when it came to their division, but it felt like AEW had no trust to give her more time in the ring against these people. So when she lost her TBS champion to Chris Statlander in like 50 seconds, yep, her streak really ended like that. Even though AEW offered more money to her, Jade decided to leave the company to join WWE, believing that they would offer a better opportunity for her just in general when it came to wrestling and maybe in the outside world of media. When she got signed, WWE immediately dropped the news, trying to make her feel like the biggest signing of the year. They had her appearing on all of the TV shows to showcase to everyone that she was going to be the next big thing. And with her tag team program with Bianca Belair, she's been able to be given more time in the ring, and we can see some improvements with her. She's not perfect in the ring, I will admit to that, but I can see that she's improving and showing more than she ever did in AEW. Also, WWE, big advice, make her a heel. She's not good at being a face. Just watch one AEW promo of hers and you can see where her strength lies. Going to the AEW side of things, we have Swerve Strickland. In WWE, Swerve had a ceiling. He was just a mid-card act in a faction called Hit Row. And sadly, that group never got the respect that it deserved. They were over at NXT, had Swerve become the North American champion before dropping it to Carmelo Hayes a few months later. And it was all because Hit Row was getting ready for the main roster, and oh my gosh, there were already problems starting. They came in and had a nice debut, but there was an issue. Vince is a blind man, because Swerve, who was always the main leader of the group, while Top Dollar and Ashanti Adonis were always the tag guys of the group, but in the main roster, Vince wanted Top Dollar positioned as the top guy of the group, while Swerve is shelved to being the tag guy. What? No offense to Top Dollar, but you are not that guy to be in Swerve's place. Swerve is such a good wrestler. His charisma and promos are unbelievable. You would think that he was destined for the future of WWE, but Vince, you know, he's a blind man, he can't see talent. All he loves is big, tall men. But sadly, Hit Row didn't last long, as some backstage rumblings caused Hit Row to be released from the WWE. AEW signed Swerve Strickland in 2022, mostly swimming around the mid-card and tag team scene in the shows. He had a fun tag run with Keith Lee and won the tag team champions with one of the best tag finishes in the game. But then that ended, so Swerve made his own group called the Mogul Embassy, which was the run-of-the-mill big bad guy teaming together with a bunch of under mid-carders that will take the pin for him. He didn't do much with him, but it was around 2023 where things finally started to pick up for him. He had an intense feud with Darby and Sting, which led to him wrestling at AEW's first All-In show. He had one of AEW's greatest feuds with his emotional, physical feud with Hangman Page, then going on to win the AEW World Champion and going on to Wembley Stadium as the World Heavyweight Champion to lose to Bryan Danielson so that Bryan could win his last World Champion before retiring. That is just beautiful. And now we're in the current time where he's one of AEW's major players and probably someone that's going to stay in the company for a very long time, and I'm just proud of him. On to the WWE side, we have Penta. Now here's the thing. In my opinion, Penta didn't have a bad run in AEW. Honestly, he had a pretty fun one. He was one of the OGs of AEW, always having great matches when it came to being solo or tagging with his brother Ray Phoenix. Penta's one of those guys you could call up when you just want a great TV match to set the crowd happy and going crazy. Penta did go on to win the tag and trios champions, but the problem is that I believe that they didn't do much with Penta. It seemed like the AEW felt that he was more useful to do tag matches than anything else, when I feel he's more deserving of a solo champion run, but he just never got that. So when he left to go to WWE, Penta was giving that superstar spectacle. Logo? Fire. Presence? Fire. They're selling his mask? Fire. And to add to that, he is without a doubt the most WWE guy that WWE could ever get. He's a colorful character. He oozes with charisma. He has a catchphrase that's over. I mean, with all that said and done, he may as well be a candidate to winning the Royal Rumble next year. Yeah. And he's been a key player in the Raw's mid-card division, mixing around the IC title picture with guys like Dom, Finn, and Braun Breaker. And in the future, I hope to see him elevate the tag division with his tag brother Ray Phoenix. But right now, we need this run to prove that he should have been a solo star all along. Up next on the AEW side, we have Toni Storm. Oh my lord, she has saved women's wrestling in this company. Toni Storm in WWE had a fine WWE run. I say that before Vince had his hands on her. She won the second Mae Young Classic, won the Women's UK Championship, but then when she lost it to Kaylee Ray, known now as Alba Fire, she then went on from NXT UK to NXT, to which she did pretty much nothing. So fast forward, she goes to the main roster, had a really nice debut with Zelina Vega. That's pretty cool. Then she only gets used 2 months later. What? Then she was used again 2 months later, and then used again for another match a month later. Huh? That's interesting. And in her third match, she lost to Zelina Vega in the first round of the Queen of the Ring tournament. Okay. She got invited to the Survivor Series match, to which she helped eliminate both Carmella and Zelina Vega, only to be eliminated by Liv Morgan later. Then her streak continued as she went on to have a program with the Women's Champion Charlotte Flair. She had a DQ win against Charlotte on an episode of SmackDown, then for her last TV appearance in WWE, she got pied in the face. Gosh, Vince, I hate you. And so Toni went through that moment and was like, screw this, I'm out! So Toni asked for a release and went on to go into AEW. She immediately went into the Owen Hart tournament, being the bunny, then Jamie Hayter, but unfortunately lost to Britt Baker in the semi-finals. She got a shot against the Women's Champion Thunder Rosa at Forbidden Door, but was unsuccessful at it. But Toni couldn't get a rematch as Thunder Rosa had to announce that she would have to take time off due to injury, so they announced the 4-way match at AEW's pay-per-view All Out to see who would become the interim Women's Champion, which was easily one of AEW's worst concepts. An interim champion where you get to hold a championship and have people like, yeah, you're the champion, but are you really the champion? So Toni won that to become the interim champion, but due to Thunder Rosa's injury taking too long, she vacated the champion flat out, and AEW made Toni Storm the true women's champion. But then she lost it to Jamie Hayter 2 months later, joining Saraya and Ruby Soho to become the Outcast, which was, oh my gosh, so awful. But that group got her to later beat Jamie Hayter for the title, as Jamie was legitimately injured. But 2 months later, she lost it to Hikaru Shida on AEW's 200th episode, and this is where she went crazy over losing the belt, thus slowly creating to who we know today as Timeless Toni Storm. Toni's transformation into Timeless Toni Storm turned into one of AEW's most unique and entertaining characters in history. Channeling a deranged old Hollywood star, she brought theatrical flair, her over-the-top drama that made her must-see TV. This reinvention only got better with the arrival of Mariah May. She was the obsessed protege and loyal assistant to Toni Storm. Their dynamic added layers to the character, with Mariah treating Toni like a glamorous icon up until the eventual breakup, which led to one of AEW's greatest women feuds in the company's history, and it helped end in spectacular fashion. She left WWE because she didn't feel that she was appreciated enough, but she came to AEW with the belief that she could do something more, to which she did, becoming AEW's most important signings in history. I know I've said in history all the time, but it's true. And lastly on our WWE list, we have to of course go to Cody freaking Rhodes. What is there left to say about him that hasn't already been said? Coming into WWE as the son of Dusty Rhodes, Cody was one of WWE's most underrated mid-carders that was never given the time to shine a light, proving that he could be a valuable asset to them. So he asked for his release and did his work in the indie scene, made his way into the Bullet Club, and that alignment helped him gain the confidence in becoming one of the founding fathers of All Elite Wrestling. But sadly, his booking has been quite the questionable one because his career was really questionable, because most of the mistakes his character encountered was mostly his fault. When Cody started out in AEW, he didn't want people to think that he was going to abuse his power and take the top spot for himself, so he made a stipulation where if he lost to the world champion Chris Jericho, he would never wrestle for the title again, to which he did and committed to it. But with that caused a problem where Cody clearly wanted to be the top babyface of the company, but it's hard to be when you book yourself to be stuck in the mid-card scene forever. He had a great feud with Brody Lee over the TNT champion, but after he lost the belt to Darby Allin, his career, woo, showing really odd. He went on to have a program with the debuting Jade Cargill and Shaquille O'Neal, like I mentioned. He had an infamous crappy feud with Anthony Ogogo during America versus Foreign Heel storyline in 2022 of all years. Man, I thought we were done with these stories. Then he had a really odd feud with Malachi Black, a scene that involved where Black beat him in his debut. Then Cody just pretended and acted like he was going to retire. Cody was and still is such a drama king in wrestling, and I just love how silly he is. Then it became a meme for people to stop booing Cody Rhodes for some reason, a point where Cody was getting booed every single week without explanation. But the thing is, it made it worse for the fact that Cody didn't use this to his advantage. People were fantasy booking a Homelander run where this delusional character does evil and believes what he's doing is right, but just never followed that story up because Cody wanted to beat John Cena so badly. He wanted to be the top dog of the company and no one was buying it. It was only until Cody left AEW for WWE was when WWE changed their minds and began to show so much love for him. And rightfully so, because his return to WWE changed the landscape of the company forever. He stood out as his own character. He connected with the fans so easily because he felt more real than most of the characters we saw on screen. He wrestled with a torn tit, for Christ's sake. Then he came back, won the Royal Rumble, and went on to WrestleMania 39 to become the new World Wait, wrong one. But you know how the story goes. He won the Royal Rumble again, dealt with The Rock trying to politic his way into facing Roman Reigns for the title, but in the end, the fans helped garner attention to how Cody finally finished his story in becoming the World Heavyweight Champion, to which he truly deserves due to how hard he's been working. He became what he set out to be. He went from being undesirable to un-goddamn deniable. And for our last pick on the AEW side, we're going for Jon freaking Moxley. Jon Moxley's post-WWE run in AEW has been quite the rebirth. Not just his character, but his entire identity as a professional wrestler. In WWE, Dean Ambrose, he was a top star on paper. A former world champion, part of the Shield, he was a Grand Slam champion. Thing is though, even with all those accomplishments, you could still feel that he was the least invested member of the Shield. Roman was Vince's guy and Seth was Triple H's guy, and Dean was there too. Even when Roman was getting booed in 2015, Dean was getting bigger pops than him. The WWE still wanted Roman Reigns as their top guy. Dean was only on top as the world champion, but only for a brief time, while everyone else in the Shield, Seth and Roman, got bigger opportunities to stay at the top. Then years later, they had him turn heel on the Shield the day that Roman announced his leukemia, which is just so awful. And this heel character devalued him so bad, making him wear masks because the crowd was stinky. I wish I was making that up. He was getting beaten up by Nia Jax for some reason. So many things that led to Moxley to believe that he was destined for something more, and that something was AEW. In AEW, Moxley was unleashed, no scripts, no filters, just raw, gritty energy. He instantly became the heart and soul of the company. He won the world champion 4 times and carried the company through the pandemic era, carried the company when the top guy was out and having personal issues with the company itself. And we are not getting into that. He had a glamorous run. Moxley embodies what AEW promises: authenticity, the edginess, and feeling like they are an alternative. In WWE, he was a star trying to fit in someone's mold that he was just not comfortable with. In AEW, he is the mold breaker and arguably one of the most important figures of the company's history. Again, I just said history again. And that's all I have for you folks. What do you guys think? Give me opinions down below. I reply to all of the comments. Follow all my socials. Subscribe now. I make a video every single week without fail. Goodbye.